Don't mind your business. Mind my podcast, Mind Elixir. Hello there, and welcome back to my podcast. If you don't already know me, my name is Ayoka, and I'm a teen podcaster. I started this podcast to share and explore my thoughts, growing pains, ideas, and other random stuff about my life as I go through high school. Today, I wanted to discuss overthinking and what it can look like, and how to put a stop to overthinking, because sometimes all that overthinking can put quite a large amount of stress on us. And before we get started, I'm sorry that I didn't have an episode last week. I know that barely anybody listens, but I would like to be consistent and accountable. But I just couldn't, first of all, I didn't do an episode last week because I didn't even outline one. And then also my computer, it got like, the Wi-Fi on my computer literally doesn't work, and it still doesn't work. So I had to do it, like, I literally did the outline for this episode on a different device. I usually just type it up on my computer during school, but my computer was acting up, acting crazy, doing all that crazy stuff. And it might sound weird the way I'm talking or something. I hope it doesn't sound weird, but I got these elastics for my braces, which are basically rubber bands that go from the bottom of the bracket to the top, from your bottom teeth to your top teeth, to help like fix the overbite or something like that, or move the teeth a little bit. So it might sound like I'm talking a bit weird. I hope it doesn't, though. These elastics kind of took some getting used to, and I'm still getting used to them because I just got them a few days ago, especially since I keep on forgetting to put them back in. We're supposed to change them like every 4 hours, but sometimes like they'll literally just snap, and I forget to put them back in. And the dentist, my orthodontist, she said that the key thing about having elastics was that we had to be consistent. And so far, I have not been the most consistent. But yeah. And before I get into the topic, make sure to follow my TikTok, Instagram, leave review, all linked down below, and all of that. I would truly appreciate if you did that. And yeah. So the topic, overthinking. I'm not trying to diagnose myself with anything, but sometimes I feel as though I just overthink things way too much. And sometimes it just makes small little things into a big, huge problem. And other time, I'm just so impulsive and I don't think at all. You know what I mean? And I feel as though I just never make I, not never, but a lot of the time, I don't always make the right choices. And that's what messes with me, because I feel as though I just overanalyze the situation because I'm scared of what will happen. Or sometimes I take impulsive actions because I don't want to think about what will happen. And I need to really find a healthy median between those two things. And I think probably a lot of other people, they probably overthink things too. But it just gets so annoying whenever you question every little thing. Well, me at least, yeah. And just making a big deal out of literally nothing because you imagine all these random scenarios and situations in your head. It just gets so annoying. And I know if something is important to me, then it's important, and I shouldn't invalidate that. But sometimes, oh my gosh, overthinking, it can be helpful. Maybe preparing for the unexpected because you expected it and thought about that possibility. But other times it's just so stressful and just adds too much worry into our lives, too much unnecessary stress and worry put upon us. It just makes you rethink and think, are you actually doing the right thing? Are you actually in control? And you're not looking at what the reality is. And in reality, you're just making things worse than they actually are. That's what I'm trying to say. And I would say that I'm especially an overthinker socially when interacting with other people, I would guess. And let me explain what I mean by that. Like, whenever someone's texting me, or whenever I text someone, I might see a certain thing or a certain, I don't know, maybe I try to read their tone over text, start thinking, oh my gosh, what does that mean? What could this mean? Like, I might see someone being dry during a conversation and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, do they not want to talk to me? Do they hate me? Am I being annoying? When really I should not be reading that far into that. Like, I just need to chill. And especially like they could literally just be a bad texter and maybe that. I don't know. And especially whenever I used to get like I would get used to get so not angry, but irritated question mark, aggravated, not sure what the correct terminology I would use to describe how I was feeling. But I would get so irritated whenever someone would leave me on red because it scares me because I'm thinking especially like you know how on Instagram it says read or seen. I would get so irritated or stressed out whenever someone would leave me on red because I'd be thinking, oh my gosh, well, what if they hate me or what if this? And then I would always unsend my messages after like a few hours. If I got left on red, I would like unsend my message after a day or something because I was like, oh my gosh, now I look like a clown. When in reality, maybe they just forgot or maybe they just didn't want to text me at all and that's why. And that's really not a big deal. If they don't, that's fine. That's fine. I just shouldn't have been putting so much stress and emphasis on whether I'm left on red or not. You know, especially I would just get so embarrassed whenever I was left on red or seen. I'm like, yikes, yikes. Or whenever I would send a long message to someone and all they would send back was like a short little message and I was like, "Oh, what is this? What is this?" But now I don't really care as much about that stuff. And I try not to get so upset over the little things and just focus on being. Just focus on existing and doing what I need to do and all of that, accomplishing what I need to accomplish. But then again, I do feel like sometimes I just end up overreacting. The overreaction part of me just takes over the overthinking part of me. And I just link certain things socially, like if someone does or says something, I link that to something that has happened back then back it previously in my life, or I link that to something I've seen happen or would think would, or even just make up a scenario, and then I overreact about what's happening right then. I'm like, no, I just need to calm down sometimes. Take a chill pill, pop the whole bottle. No, I shouldn't say that. But in addition, I also wanted to discuss overthinking and how that can contribute to or impact all the other things in our lives. Now that I've talked about the ways that I've overthought, I wanted to talk about the positive and negative ways overthinking can impact us. Mostly just negative though, because yeah, mostly negative. But let's start off with the positive things. The pros of overthinking are that it can kind of make you look at things in a different perspective, not necessarily, but maybe you're just analyzing a situation and you're analyzing it from different angles so you can see multiple perspectives. Another good thing about overthinking is that it can help you see red flags because you see a situation and then you're like, "Oh, I saw this pattern of behavior or I saw this happen to someone else before. I saw this before and what if this is happening again?" So you can see red flags in behavior and that can help prevent you from being in dangerous or harmful or hurtful situations. And that's a pretty good thing. But there are a lot of bad things about overthinking too. So let's get into those. And don't worry, at the end, I'm going to provide like 5 steps to help you stop, help me, help you. A lot of the things I say in this podcast, as I'm researching it, they like actually help me too. Like these are things that are relevant to my life and what I'm going through right now, what I'm trying to help manage or cope with or deal with. So a lot of the topics on my episodes, those are that. And as I research them, it helps me. But what I was gonna say is at the end of this episode, I'm giving like 5 steps I kind of came up with through my research to help stop overthinking things, little situations so much. But back to the topic. I know I keep jumping back and forth. Let's talk about the cons of overthinking. First of all, overthinking, it can lead to imposter syndrome. I actually didn't know this, but then as I was researching this episode and thinking about it, I was like, oh, hold up. Imposter syndrome is a result of overthinking. And if you don't already know, imposter syndrome is basically the belief that you're not as good as others think you to be at something or that you don't deserve some reward or something like that or whatever position you're in. And this is linked to overthinking. We begin to overthink about something we earned and we just start to believe that we don't deserve it. Despite the fact that that's probably not true. I mean, like, you're literally not a fraud for being in certain situations or being or earning something, especially if you earned it. Unless maybe you like literally stole someone's degree to go to medical school, then maybe you are a fraud. But I'm pretty sure you didn't do that. So you're not a fraud and you do deserve what you have. You deserve it. Whatever you earned or whatever like that. And I just think that imposter syndrome, a lot of things that people go through, it is a result of overthinking, whether that's like loss of confidence or something or self doubt. Those are literally linked to overthinking. Another result of overthinking is replaying scenarios over in your head again and again and again. For me, that's just I imagine an event or a part of my life or something that happened in the past, and I just can't stop thinking about it and over analyzing it and thinking, what if I'd done this? What if I'd done that back then? And it's not really helpful to me because it's in the past and I need to move on instead of thinking about every single aspect or part of it, you know? And you can't just keep thinking about what if I done this, what if I done that, because now you've got to pay attention to the future and the present because those are things that you can affect and impact instead of living in the past or just continually thinking about an event that happened in the past. And while events that happened in back in your life or whatever, they do affect now, we also have to think about what is happening now and what we can do to change what's happening now or in the future as well. And then replaying scenarios in your head, this can also lead to second guessing your decisions. Those are kind of the same thing, maybe. I don't know. Second guessing your decisions. And while second guessing is good in some sense, in that you can look at what you've done and think about how you can improve it, if you're just completely living in the past and regretting every single thing you've done, unless you've murdered someone, you should definitely probably regret that. But if you're just living in the past and regretting every single thing you've done, then that is not it. That is not the move. We need to move on and think about what course of action or what we can do to help have a positive or a better future in life right now. The next thing that overthinking can cause is self sabotaging or destructive thoughts, like this negative thought spiral. Negative, how I can't talk. Oh my God, it's these elastics. I'm blaming it on these elastics. Yeah, it can cause a negative thought spiral. And for me, that just looks like blaming everything on myself and thinking, oh my gosh, I'm so stupid. I'm so dumb, and all of that. Yeah, that's not that great for me. For me, that looks as though I just think back to certain situations and I'm like, oh, I shouldn't have done this. Why do I always mess up at things? I just had one job. And basically, all of the things that I'm talking about for overthinking, they are kind of linked to each other, but I still put them into separate categories or whatever. But yeah, I just think, oh my gosh, I'm so dumb. Why would I do that? I just think about one decision or one action I made and I just can't stop. And it just hurts me. It hurts me mentally and emotionally. And those self sabotaging and those destructive thought spirals are not good for us. And we need to find a way out of them. Another thing that overthinking can cause is ruining our relationships with others or preventing us from making further bonds with others or making friends. This can like cause you to push others away, maybe because you always believe they have ill or bad intentions just because of what something that happened with your other friends back then. Like, I don't know, for me, I just always have this thought in my head that people they don't actually want to be friends with me, that they just want to be friends with me for their own personal gain or something, even though that literally doesn't make sense. But yeah. And then something else I discovered while making this episode was something called ruminating, however that word is pronounced, which is it just basically just means racing or negative thoughts, where your thoughts are like racing, which is basically just racing. You have a bunch of thoughts coming through, and all of that, which is basically the same thing as overthinking, except you just start to feel overwhelmed with everything you're thinking, and you just end up creating problems that aren't even there, making up scenarios in your head. And like, I saw this one quote, it was like, I have 99 problems, and if I stopped overthinking, that would fix 98 of them. That's so true. And obviously, there's a bunch of other things this can refer to, but yeah. Now, let me get into the steps to stop overthinking that I will probably be using as well, that I need to be using. First of all, recognize when you're doing it. Like, if you feel as though your thoughts are just getting a hold of you and you're having all of this and you're thinking all about that, and you just find yourself spiraling with negative thoughts, then that is when you're overthinking. You need to become self aware and realize, hold up, recognize, hold up, I'm overthinking, hold up, and pause. And then after that, you need to realize why you may feel that way, or what is causing you to overthink about this certain situation or this event or this thing that's going to happen. What is causing this? Because that overthinking, it could be rooted in a place of rational thinking, or it could be rooted in something else that isn't that great. You need to understand and where that your overthinking or your thoughts are actually coming from, and why you have them. Third, look at your thoughts and try to understand them to see if they are accurate. Like, just don't let your thoughts control you, though. Just, in fact, try to challenge them and think, oh, wait, hold up. And then number 4, allow time for reflection. When I say this, I mean to give yourself a reality check, maybe writing down your thoughts or sharing it with others, sharing how you feel with others. Or if you feel like it's too much, just look for distraction, not necessarily to push the thoughts away, but just so that you can be more relaxed and at ease. And make sure to look at the bigger picture instead of just the small details of the situation. Because while details are important, the bigger picture is also important. I don't know. I was gonna go there. I was gonna say something super inspirational. I'm not sure where I went, but yeah. First, recognize what you're doing. Become self-aware. 2, realize why you may feel this way. Why you're having These thoughts. 3, look at your thoughts and try to understand them. See if they're accurate. Number 4, allow time for reflection. Give yourself a reality check. Write down your thoughts to allow yourself to be at ease and less stressed. These are just questions I came up with. I haven't really been doing questions at the end of my episodes recently, but here are some that I came up with to ask myself or yourself whenever you feel as though you're overthinking. Does this thought have any substance, or does it add to my life? How? Are these thoughts helping me in the situation that I'm in? Always just remember that your thoughts, they're not always the reality. They're not always facts. They're not always set in stone. Because sometimes our mind likes to mix fiction, fakeness, and create fantastical tales and try to convince us that's what things will happen in real life. But we just need a reality check? And yeah, that is basically it for this episode. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. And oh yeah, I have a quote. I said, you don't have to control your thoughts. You just have to stop letting them control you, which is by Dan Millman. I just got it off Pinterest. I have no idea who Dan Millman is actually, though. And remember to show kindness, self-compassion, and all of that to yourself. And listen to the next episode of my podcast on Wednesday. If you like this episode, then you might also want to check out my episode about fear of judgment. And yeah, leave a review, follow my Instagram. Everything is linked down below. I might also link some additional resources about how to stop overthinking down below. And yeah, that's it. Bye.